They lived in quiet neighborhoods. They went grocery shopping. They had children in local schools. But for more than a decade, these were not ordinary families. They were Russian spies, living deep inside the United States. This is the story of Operation Ghost Stories, one of the largest counterintelligence operations in modern history. In the early 2000s, across small towns in New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Virginia, the perfect American families seemed to thrive. The Murphys in Montclair, the Heathfields in Cambridge, Donald and Tracy Foley in Seattle. To everyone around them, they were neighbors, friendly, polite, hardworking, but these families were not who they claimed to be. They were illegals, deep-cover Russian intelligence operatives from the SVR, trying to live under false identities, tasked to gather intelligence on American policy and political circles. For nearly 10 years, they blended into American life, attending PTA meetings, hosting barbecues, and paying taxes. Behind closed doors, they transmitted coded messages to Moscow Center, the headquarters of Russia's Foreign Intelligence Agency. They called it the Illegals Program. Its purpose: to embed Russian citizens under fabricated identities in Western countries. Each operative was given a false past, a new name, a new nationality, a new life. Richard and Cynthia Murphy appeared to be financial consultants, Donald Heathfield and Tracy Foley, business strategists. They lived quiet, respectable lives, but at night the masks slipped. Hidden behind everyday routines were encrypted files, steganographic software, and wireless dead drops disguised as casual Wi-Fi networks. Their mission was not to steal classified data directly, but to cultivate long-term relationships with people who could. For American counterintelligence, these agents were ghosts, leaving no visible trace, until a small detail changed everything. The FBI had been monitoring unusual Wi-Fi signals in specific public areas, parks, cafes, and hotel lobbies. Devices that connected briefly to unlisted networks, then disappeared. These were covert data exchanges, brief connections between agents and encrypted servers controlled by Moscow. Another communication method was steganography, concealing messages inside ordinary images. A family photo uploaded to the web could contain hidden data, instructions, payment confirmations, or details on US nuclear policy. It was digital espionage. Years before the term cyberspy became common, the FBI's counterintelligence unit began piecing it together. They called their long-term surveillance Operation Ghost Stories. The FBI had been watching since the 1990s. Over time, they placed microphones, hidden cameras, and undercover agents near the suspects' homes. For nearly a decade, they collected thousands of hours of recordings. Some agents met in parks. Others buried cash in the woods for retrieval months later. The FBI documented everything. They knew these people weren't amateurs. They were professionals trained by the SVR's Directorate S. By 2010, the Bureau was ready to strike. 10 suspected Russian spies living across the US would be taken down in one coordinated operation. On June 27, 2010, FBI agents executed simultaneous arrests in Montclair, Yonkers, Arlington, and Boston. The operation unfolded with surgical precision. Within hours, the world learned that an entire Russian spy ring had been hiding in plain sight. The story dominated international headlines. 10 agents were detained. The most famous of them, Anna Chapman, a young woman living in New York City, quickly became the face of the scandal. Glamorous, confident, mysterious. She embodied a modern version of Cold War espionage. But behind the media spectacle was a much older game. One that would soon take a dramatic diplomatic turn. Just days after the arrests, negotiations began. In Vienna, Austria, a spy exchange was arranged. 10 Russian operatives were swapped for individuals held in Russia, accused of spying for the West. Among them, former Russian intelligence officers who had aided Western agencies. The trade marked the largest US-Russia spy exchange since the Cold War. The 10 ghosts returned to Russia. Some faded into obscurity. Anna Chapman, however, embraced her fame, appearing on television, in fashion shoots, even joining a youth political movement aligned with the Kremlin. Years later, questions remain. How many more illegals still live among us? How many identities are still false, waiting for activation? Operation Ghost Stories ended with arrests. But the network it revealed was far larger, more patient, and more invisible than anyone had imagined. They were never caught because they failed. They were caught because someone, somewhere, finally noticed. And that was enough to end the illusion. In the years after the arrests, global intelligence agencies quietly adapted. Espionage no longer relied on secret meetings or dead drops, but on data streams and digital shadows. The battlefield had shifted from streets and parks to servers and clouds. Today, an agent might never leave their home, yet influence governments across continents. Operation Ghost Stories may have ended, but its legacy lives in every digital conflict that followed. Because in the modern world, spies no longer hide in neighborhoods, they hide in plain sight, online.